This is my minimal matte black PlayStation 5 desk setup, and you might disagree, but this is a peak gaming setup. Now, my attention is always drawn to different places, from work to being a dad and even creating videos. But making a designated gaming setup like this has been one of the best decisions I've made. Having a singular place to do nothing but game has actually become more value to me with time, where my brain can actually detach from the rest of my worldly responsibilities. Chances are a lot of you can relate. With that, I wanted to keep this setup minimal to one console only and make it a moodier matte black theme. And I really think this turned out great. So let me take you through my desk, the setup, some gaming alongside the accessories that go into this build. Of course, I'll have everything linked down below in the video description if you do want to check it out, and thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video and helping me build out this setup. And since it's the literal foundation to every setup, I do want to start with the blacked out desk from FlexiSpot. This specific one is their E7 sit stand desk, coming in at 60 by 24 inches, both of which are fully customizable. There's a lot of desk options out there, of course, but for myself, I've made it a non-negotiable to stand at least twice an hour, and this desk helps me maintain that goal even while gaming. And if you're over the age 27 and your name is Mike, you definitely need to stand up and drink some water right now. With this desk though, the control panel allows me to adjust the height between two profiles, and even still I can adjust it to any height between 22.8 and 48.4 inches. The desk itself can hold up to 355 pounds, which is wild. I'm a big boy and this handles my weight pretty easily, which is surprising. Not to mention at the top end, it is wildly sturdy. I'm one of those elbow leaners while gaming, so for me this does the trick. I've personally never been that good at cable management, so luckily there's a built-in cable management cover, which legit just simplifies all of it. I'll talk more about cable management in a bit, but this does make it super easy. In terms of quality as well, it is a home run, especially for the price point, and again, it's the foundation of this setup. I'll have this link down below, of course, and thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. Now in this setup, the PS5 is simply a glorious beast when it comes to gaming, and it's slowly pulling me away from my PC gaming setup more frequently week over week. I'm not sure if it's because I'm using a mouse and keyboard all day at work, or if a controller is just more relaxing. Either way, the PlayStation 5 is hands down my favorite system of the current generation of consoles. Now, of course, for this stock PS5, the white plates definitely have to go, so I'm using these black plates from a company called Pepper Jobs. That's the goofiest name for a company, but honestly, I haven't been able to find the official Sony plates for months, and these were definitely cheaper than D brand straight up. They do clip on just like any other set of plates, and they actually look really nice in the matte black setup. Now when it comes to gaming on the PS5, it's simply a good time no matter what. For myself, the exclusives alone have given me some of the best gaming in the last decade, and my backlog still grows with past and upcoming releases. Right now, I'm most pumped for Spider-Man 2 since the first two games were an absolute great play. Apart from that, I've been huge into Ghost of Tsushima, Overwatch, as well as starting to try in 100% Hogwarts Legacy. That game is just so chill. The PS5 has blown away my expectations truly, and I actually have a long-term review of it coming up since it's just gotten better with time. I can admittedly say I've become a bit of a PS5 fanboy. And paired perfectly with the PS5 is the LG UltraGear 27-inch OLED monitor, which has been my favorite monitor of the year so far. It actually excites me to play on a display like this. It is expensive and all for a 1440p monitor, but it just ticks so many boxes, enough that it surprises me that I'm willing to forego a 4K resolution for 1440p. And to be honest, at this size, 1440p still looks absolutely beautiful. I do wish they had this in a 4K version, but maybe some point down the line. For this monitor though, it has a wild 240Hz refresh rate, but in this case the PS5 will obviously only push 120Hz. Again, for me that's fine since this monitor makes up for it simply by being an OLED panel. I've been spoiled by OLEDs this year in terms of vibrancy, saturation, and contrast ratio, and this is one of the best looking monitors for gaming period. It covers me for all my PlayStation 5 features in terms of HDR and variable refresh rate as well. Playing things like Call of Duty or Overwatch, it's actually pretty decent to pop off. Whether it's a placebo or not, it definitely earns a spot in this setup. I really dig the gaming menu as well to check my variable refresh rate or to swap between my gaming profiles, plus this remote included is wildly useful. There's also these RGB backlights on the end, and while I'm not an RGB lover, it's still nice to have if I'm in the mood. It also goes without saying, regardless of what I'm playing, everything simply looks incredible. First person shooters, driving games, RPGs, no matter what, it's a good time. Now outside of gaming, to round out the rest of my setup, I do want to talk about all the accessories, starting with an easy mention, and that's the midnight black DualSense controller. I'm sure I don't really need to talk about this one if you're already familiar with the PlayStation 5, but as someone who's coming from PC gaming, one thing I didn't know I actually would fall in love with is the DualSense controller. I know some people don't like it, but honestly this is an absolute 10 out of 10 controller for me. The resistance triggers, the touchpad, the haptics and rumble, and it has a frickin' microphone and speaker built in. Like, that's simply wild to me. Also, rechargeable controllers are simply better, and I'll die on that hill. This controller is sitting on another accessory though, which is this cheapo controller stand from Play Vital. I think it's about 15 bucks, but it's simple and pretty useful. Something small like this can easily elevate your setup. Now, in terms of my headset, I'm rocking a pair of Sony XM5s in matte black. It's not a gaming setup at all, but honestly I don't really care, and I simply prefer how these look and feel. Plus they sound incredible. They're easily built as a premium product. The only downside is I do gotta plug them directly into my DualSense, but this is kind of what I do with all the headsets I currently own anyways. Either way, they sound great, look great, and they're matte black. Playing games while vibing to music is a new favorite of mine when I'm not in my FPS sweatlord mode, and PlayStation makes this absolutely easy with their built-in media player. The headset is sitting on this walnut and black leather headphone stand from GroveMade. It's super expensive honestly, but it is a buy once piece, meaning it'll just last forever. When it comes to natural materials like wood and leather, I'm an absolute sucker, and this is peak elegance in a gaming setup, for me at least. My next accessory though is something I've been eyeing for quite a long time, and I've finally decided to pull the trigger, and that's this Govee standing lamp. It jumps into the camp of RGB and stuff, but I really just dig the aesthetic and the features. The light fits snugly into the corner next to my desk, and my walls sort of diffuse the light amazingly across my setup, especially in a dark room. The app is pretty robust in terms of features as well, so I've actually got a lot to figure out in here on how to maximize my usage of this lamp. Now, to break up the solid black of the desktop itself, I'm using this desk mat, which is another piece from GroveMade. It's just a nice way to break up the solid black of the desk and to add a bit more character. It's also cozy for my arms while gaming, and I just appreciate the texture. Now for my last accessory, it's actually an SSD for my PlayStation 5. It's not visible in my setup at all, but I'm honestly going to count it since this is low-key one of the most useful items, being able to expand the storage of my PS5. As my backlog of game grows and PS Plus is actually really good now, this is definitely a must-have for me. Especially with the size of games nowadays, do yourself a favor and get yourself an SSD. Now when it comes down to my chair though, it's actually an office chair, and straight up they're simply better than gaming chairs for both comfort and quality. This chair is the Steelcase EMEA, which is literally the heaviest, most sturdy yet comfortable chair I've ever used. It doesn't look like anything special or incredible, and frankly it's boring as hell, but it's super adjustable and sort of just molds to my body. It's actually really expensive though, sort of like Herman Miller's, but I've always tried to not go cheap for anything between myself and the ground. Now I spoke about it briefly before, but the last thing I want to touch on is cable management, since this can make or break just about any setup. In this case, I've only got two things to plug in, my monitor and my PlayStation 5, and straight up this is super easy to manage. Typically, cable management is a workout and a project in and out of its own, so managing this has been wildly easy. And unlike all my other desk setups, I didn't mount a power strip this time since I really didn't need it with only two things to plug in. Plus, this desk does have the cable management cover built right in like I mentioned, keeping all the desk wiring out of sight and anything else I need to add like my PS5 and monitor. For the rest of the cables sticking out though, I've just used these super inexpensive cable clips from Amazon that keep them tight and out of sight. Cable management with a standing desk is always easier too, so this is a huge plus. I do want to lump in my monitor arm into cable management as well, since this is easily one of the best ones I've used. This one is from a company called Pixio, and it fits the setup perfectly, being matte black and all. In terms of cable management, it helps keep everything tidy and out of sight, plus I really dig the aesthetic of a monitor arm in just about every setup. So yeah, that's the setup, and I think it turned out incredible. It's awesome for gaming, and frankly it has nothing else on it, meaning if I'm at this desk, it's literally to decompress and game. No laptops or potential distractions, just gaming. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of this setup? I appreciate you all watching till the end. If you do want to see some of my previous setups, be sure to check out one of these two videos. Thanks again for watching. Till next time.